My wife and I were able to turn $1,500 into a net worth of over $850,000 as parents in our 30s. But this did not happen overnight. This is not some get rich quick scheme. We didn't do anything with crypto or get lucky at the casino. We just followed a proven path to go from point A to point B in terms of building wealth in our personal finances. And it's what I do now in my Wealthy Parent program, helping parents do the exact same. And in this video, I'm going to walk through what we did exactly step by step. But we have to start kind of back at the beginning because, again, we didn't just wake up one morning and we had over $850,000 in our net worth, which most of it is in cash or retirement or money set aside for a kid's future education, right? The majority of our net worth is tied up in those things. This was a process that took 10, 12 years, to be quite honest with you, but it's a process that works. And I'm making this video so that hopefully you can just take the same things, and I would love for you to be able to do it in a shorter period of time, going from where you are to nearing $1 million net worth in less time than what we were able to do, because we didn't really follow any plan. We were just sort of figuring it out and we made stuff up along the way. But 10, 12 years ago, we had no clue what we were doing with our finances. We had no financial goals. We had nothing. I have a degree in accounting. I went to school for accounting and I had no idea how to manage my own money. I was walking around thinking like, oh, you're great with finances, with the numbers and blah, blah. I had no idea how to manage my money. Looking back, it was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. And that embarrassment really was hit on the head over 10 years ago when I went to buy a new car and I didn't have enough money in my bank account to give the dealership the check that I promised for the down payment. Somehow at the last minute, I scrambled some money together. My then girlfriend, now wife, was able to give me some money, essentially just to like kind of make sure it happened. I drove the car off the lot. The whole time on the way home, I was kicking myself. I was so embarrassed. And I was like, oh, you cannot let this happen ever again. Like, again, you're this person with supposed to be good with finances and numbers and money, and you are not taking the actions to represent the person that you are saying that you are. So I drew a line in the sand and I was like, okay, what is the one core action that I can take to just start moving forward? And that core action at the time was just simply looking at my bank account every single day. So I woke up, instead of scrolling on social media, the first thing I did was I just looked at my bank account every day. I looked. And I made a promise to myself I would do it for at least 30 days. And I did it for like 2.5, 3 months, something like that. Guys, real quick, I've opened up some spots in my Wealthy Parent program for busy families looking to get more clarity in their finances, find extra money each month without making more, so that they're able to put more of their hardworking money towards their financial goals and just feel like they're winning with their money. If that sounds interesting, any of that, there's a link below this video to book a call directly with me and we could start your path to becoming a wealthy parent. I'll see you there. And then I was like, this is great and all, but I'm not really making any progress. Like there's nothing happening. Like I'm more aware of what's in my bank account. However, I don't really know like what's the next step here. So I was like, okay, what's the next logical step? And that turned into like, okay, is my bank account going up or down every month? Where am I spending the most money? Like, is my income fluctuating? All these things. And really at the end of the day, it turned into budgeting. And this budgeting eventually turned into like, okay, I am working hard. I'm making more money. Like our income was increasing, right? But it's like, this money is still not going to financial goals. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, our problem was we were deprioritizing financial goals for life. So we would just, like, everything was fine. We were living comfortably, but we weren't getting ahead for our future. And we knew that because what we were doing was we were just letting life happen. And at the end of every month, we're like, oh man, there's no money left over again to put towards our financial goals, like saving money, even just like retiring. We had a lot of debt too. We're just like, what is happening? So one day we just kind of sat down on the couch and we were having a conversation about starting to have kids, like starting that conversation. And we were like, okay, what are the things in our life that could be stopping us from being like the best parents that we could be? And the thing that we kept pointing back to was like, wow, we have $43,000 worth of debt combined. And we just had bought a house too. So it's like not even including that, but it's like other debts. Like, what are we doing here? So we drew another line in the sand and we're like, okay, we have to just like focus intently on this and just pay off our debt as soon as possible. So what we were doing, instead of like deprioritizing our financial goals, we made paying off our debt the main priority. So what we were doing was, okay, how do we put as much money as humanly possible into this? So what that meant was we deprioritize other things. So I like to just call this kind of like value-based budgeting. And I think the reason why budgeting doesn't work for a lot of parents out there is because they budget just to budget, and they look at their spreadsheet, their app, whatever they're using, and they see all the ways that their budget is restricting them. And they see budget as this restrictionary tool of, I can't do these things that I want to do. And what I've done, and now what I've shared inside of the Wealthy Parent Program to families, is like, you can have your cake and eat it too. We just can't do literally everything. It's going to be a trade-off. Like, what are the things that matter most to you? I call them the North Star goals. And then how do we realign our hardworking money to point towards those North Star goals? And you'll see very quickly that we literally can't do everything, but we can still do the top couple things on our list 1,000,000%, right? So for example, my wife and I, we try to be healthy and things like that. So pretty much a non-negotiable for us is like spending money in like fitness or health or like things like that. That's not something that we would ever deprioritize. So we spend more in that category than we used to. We continue to as we get older. Like, our body's starting to ache a little bit, right? And we need to, we need to just keep taking care of ourselves. We have 2 kids. Like, that, our main priority is just like, how do we stay alive for as long as possible and enjoy our family and just continue to build on what we have, right? So that's something that is just like a quick example, but it could be life goals, financial goals, non-negotiable spending, etc. And so when we were applying this towards paying off our debt, what we were doing was we would have a meeting every single month, like a fixed meeting in our calendar. It was like this 15-minute meeting. We had the laptop. She had debt in her name. I had debt in my name. We had shared debt. We had like 12 loans, guys. 12. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone, having 12 different loans. But she would take the laptop. She would enter in. It was just basically like, hey, what's the total balance in each of the debts? We had a column for each of the months, and then I would enter mine and whatever. And then we would attack one of them. It's like, okay, what's the goal here? Because we had a shared bank account at the time, but we had obviously unshared debts, and money was coming from all different places. So we wanted to make sure that we were aligned into like, okay, this is the focus. Like this month, like your debt is the next one. Okay, next month we talk, okay, my debt is the focus this month. We're going to be pumping money towards this. And we didn't know it at the time, but we were actually doing the debt snowball method, which is prioritizing the smallest loans first, and you just kind of work your way up. So as the smallest gets paid off, you take the balance that you're paying towards that and you roll it in the next one. So you put minimums on everything, and all the extra money that you have, you put towards the smallest one. And this thing, like the snowball method, works. The snowball method works. There's a bunch of different methods that works. This one works. The avalanche method works too if you want to save more money, which is like you're paying off the highest interest rates first. But both of them work. It doesn't matter. Just pick one and stick with it. And this was insane. Like looking back at that period, we prioritized this, the debt payoff, and nothing else. Like we said no to a lot of things, friends, family events, paid things, because we were like, we have to pay this off. People looked at us weird. They like, what are you doing? You don't want to come to, you're trying to save money to pay off what are you doing? And then this was 7 years ago now 6 or 7 years ago that we paid off debt. And some of those people that were giving us the side eye, guess what? They still have consumer debt that they haven't paid off from 7 years ago. And in this period of time, I'll call it like a 3 to 5 year period, is when our wealth exploded, not because instantly it didn't happen overnight, but because we planted so many seeds along the way. And so where the $1,500 comes into play is that $1,500 we had as an emergency fund. That's it. We had $1,500 as an emergency fund. At the time, it felt like that was enough for us to be able to push towards paying off the debt. Like if something were to happen, we had this fallback. Now, for you, it could be something completely different. And how I'd recommend families look at this is actually going back like 12 months if possible, and just seeing what are the unexpected expenses that popped up in that 12 months. And then what is a dollar amount that would cover like 90%, 95% of those things that popped up, right? Like if you had a new roof in the last 9 months, like obviously I wouldn't include that. That's probably like $10,000. You don't need $10,000 necessarily just to kind of start like being aggressive towards putting money towards your financial goals. But for us at the time, it was $1,500. Obviously as prices go up and things get more expensive, it might be worthwhile for you to really look into this. It might be more, but for us at the time, that $1,500 was what gave us the confidence to literally put every single other dollar towards paying off the debt. And at the end, we were paying off like $2,000-$3,000 a month extra towards our debt, which is just kind of insane, actually. And The reason why is because we were able to, again, realign our spending. So if you don't think that you have extra money in your finances to be able to do this, I challenge you to find it, because it's in there. And how I walk families through this is a 3-step little process. First, we do a 90-day look back, just see like, where has your money been going? And then you write down that North Star goal list. So for this, the first kind of rough draft is just like writing down the things that matter to you. It doesn't matter the order, just kind of like get them out there, put them on a piece of paper, put them in your notes app on your phone. And then after you look at them, just kind of reorganize them. Like, what's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because like I was mentioning earlier, it's really hard to, if you have like 20 things on there, you can't prioritize everything. So like for us, paying off the debt was critical, and it meant that some things like 7, 8, 9, 10, we had to like kind of eliminate off the list for now, temporarily, right? Because we just couldn't focus on all the things. And then the third step is like, how do I realign where my money has been going? Which, if you've never done this exercise, I can almost guarantee you it's not aligning to things that matter to you the most. But that's why we do this exercise, so that you get clarity with where your money's going. And then it's like, how do I want to start spending it? And I think people think about spending their money as like expenses, but at the end of the day, financial goals is spending money because you're putting money towards it. So just a little mindset shift there. It's not always just buying Amazon or, Uber Eats or whatever everyone does. And this was just extremely helpful for us, and that's how we were able to put so much extra money towards our finances. Because again, as our income was increasing, this is a very common thing that I see all the time. We didn't go crazy. It's not like our income was increasing and we just like instantly overbought for what we had, but we just like slowly started doing a little more, right? We got the nicer couch, and then we were going out to eat more, and it's just like those little things add up, because we felt more comfortable as our income was rising. It's like, felt like a relief, like, thank God. Okay, now we can like we can live a little bit, right? Live a little, I'll put that in quotes. But really, living a little bit is having control over our money. At least that's what I think. Like, having control over my money is living, because now I'm not relying on some spreadsheet to tell me like what to do. I'm just like setting up a system that tells me like, and I tell it like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, and I don't have to think. It just kind of like happens. Everything's automated, and it's amazing. Because the first job of money isn't to make you rich, it's to keep you from going backwards, to be quite honest with you. So how I think of like an emergency fund, if we go back to the $1,500 that we had, an emergency fund is a way to not go backwards. You're not going to get rich from an emergency fund. If you do, then you're doing it wrong, because you have way too much in there. And I don't know, you've got some good interest rates in like a high yield savings account or something like that. Like, no one should be planning on getting rich from saving money, but saving money helps you from going backwards. So I like to think about it like a video game, right? So think about your favorite video game. It's maybe like a action game where there's like, you're like fighting something or something. So you're going through the level, right? Everything's going great. Then all of a sudden you're getting attacked out of nowhere. Your screen's flashing red. Everything's like, holy crap, you're going to die, right? And that's the unexpected expenses that are coming into our life. So what do you do in the video game? Do you push forward and have to go back to the checkpoint and start again? Or do you like, oh crap, I got to take cover. So you go behind the rock. You're like, oh cool, there's a med kit over here. Let me bulk up real quick, and then I'll go back to attacking the thing. So it's more of a pause than going back to the checkpoint. Because a lot of times what happens, I see it all the times with families, and I feel for them, because this was me back in the day. But like, you make 2, 3, 4 months of amazing progress, then one thing comes up out of nowhere that you're not ready for, and it brings you back to that checkpoint. You just undid all of those months of progress because we didn't have a plan in place. So again, $1,500 might not make sense for you. I would definitely kind of really look into the numbers. And again, this is what I help people do in the Wealthy Parent Program. It's like, how do we get the stable foundation, the safe numbers, so that we can just start attacking everything? Because if we don't have the right system in place, like at the end of the day, spending more money than we make is a behavioral issue. It's not really a numbers issue. So if we don't change that to begin with, you're going to pay off the debt, and then it's just going to come back. It's just like, I call these seesaw months, where it's like there's a couple months that are great, and then you back down here, and it's like, what the hell is going on? It feels like over a long enough time horizon, you make zero progress, because you're going up a couple months, down a couple months, up a couple months, down a couple months, and it's this really frustrating thing. And that's why I think families in America just don't think they can get ahead because it just feels like they're just on a freaking treadmill and it sucks. So that $43,000 worth of debt was paid off in 13 months. Crazy. Crazy. But then after that, we just rolled it right into our next goal. So at the time, like our first child was going to be born soon. Our son, he's 5 now, which is crazy. And we just put money into a 529 education account, kind of get him set up. We had put a big deposit in there. And then after that, we just pumped money into our investments, our retirement, things like that. And again, this was the space and time of our life when, like, looking back, it's like these 3 to 5 years, again, is the reason why we're able to do so much in like a short period of time. It's because we planted so much seeds, we invested so much money into our future selves. And it's really this like financial flywheel of, okay, the emergency fund didn't make us rich, but it allowed us to free up our money to be able to put towards more valuable things. And we had less financial setbacks. Did we have setbacks during paying off the debt? 1,000,000%. There were 2 big things that I can remember because at the time I wasn't like tracking this. I didn't know I was going to be helping other families do this as well. So I wasn't really tracking this. So it was really tough to kind of go back. But there was definitely a $500 thing one month that kind of set us back a little bit. And then there was an $1,100 thing. My wife had a sensor in her car go, and we had to pay for that. So we didn't even dip into the emergency fund because we were making so really good progress paying off the debt. We didn't want to dip into it. So we just paid less towards the debt in those months to kind of keep the $1,500 in place. But, you know, some people might not be able to do that or whatever, but that's why we have the buffer, right? So the emergency fund, less financial setbacks, means we were able to pay off the debt so quickly in 13 months. And then we had just more cash flow. We weren't giving money to strangers, right? We were giving money to our future selves, which is the most valuable thing that anyone can do. So we were investing more. And that obviously has compounded really well because every time you invest, it slowly just keeps getting better and better and better. But the part that nobody wants to talk about, and I think this is why a lot of parents don't stick with investing, because everyone loves the idea of compounding, right? People call it the 8th wonder of the world. First of all, when you have debt, that's compounding too. It's just working negatively. So nobody talks about that part. So that's actually the first thing. The second thing is that it is really hard to get to that first, we'll call it $100,000 in savings/retirement, because most of that effort is just you putting in the money. So it's like you have to put in the vast majority of that. And even if I was just to show you this in a compounding interest calculator, so let's say the initial deposit is, I can't put 0, so we're starting from 0. Conservative rate of return, we'll call it 8%. I like to use 8%. Typically, the market standard is like 10 to 12%, but whatever. I just like to be conservative here. Contribution amount, I'm not really sure. Let's say $500. And then how long does it take us to get to $100,000? I'm just going to keep playing with the numbers here. You can tell I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Great. So we'll call it 11 years. Perfect. So in 11 years, if you have a rate of return of 8% and you're putting $500 a month towards investing, look at this chart here. It's showing that you put $66,000 of principal. So that's you investing 11 years of investing $500 a month. And the interest on that is $39,000. So like, it feels like we're doing all the heavy lifting, right? And you could see like, even here, it's like we're 3 years, 4 years in, and like the interest is barely doing anything. The principal here is $30,000 to $6,000 of interest, right? And then you can start to see that the gap is widening, right? And then what happens is, after a long enough time horizon, if we say do 30 years, then look at this thing. We've still invested $500. We're still getting the same return. But over time, this chart just gets better and better and better in terms of how much we're putting towards our investment. We'll get my fat hat out of the way. And you can see that in those 30 years, we've invested $180,000, but the interest was over $560,000. So it's basically like 3x the amount of interest that we received from our money compounding. And this is the hardest part. It's the part that people don't understand. And so to be perfectly honest with you, some of our net worth is tied into our primary house. So back in the day, we bought the starter home kind of a thing, and the market went nuts. So in like 4 years, our house like went up. The market said our house was worth 50% more or something like that. So we just kind of use that as an opportunity. We kind of up-leveled our house a little bit because we knew that we were trying to grow a family, and the house that we were in eventually we'd outgrow it. So we just kind of we left that house faster than I guess we thought we were going to. We thought, we're like, oh yeah, we'll be here for 10 years. We left in 4 because the housing market went insane. So just to be clear, like some of our net worth is definitely tied into our current home. We have a mortgage, but we have no other debt. And we started, now we have a second child. She's 2, so we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and combined we have about $30,000 into their 529, their future education. And there could be a whole conversation about like, oh, is college even going to be around in that amount of time, like 15 years? Like, are people going to be just getting free college? Who knows? But I'd rather just be prepared instead of just thinking or assuming that something isn't going to happen when it should, right? Or whatever. And I think this is a reason that people don't say invest in the stock market, because they're like, oh, inflation, oh, the dollar's value is going down. And to me, those are all just lame excuses as to why people don't start. It's like, I'd rather just be prepared. And we've been rewarded for just having a plan, even if we didn't know what that plan was. For example, we have money sitting in just like a regular brokerage account. And this is for an opportunity that we don't even know exists yet. So any extra money that we have every month, we put into this. And then we've just been rewarded in the past for putting money into an opportunity vehicle or whatever. And that's actually how we have the house that we have today, because we just made a plan of not knowing what it was, but we just kept sticking to the thing. And then this house, we literally put $0 in because our first house, had such an appreciative value, 50% increase. So we just took the sale of that house, dumped it into a down payment here. Yes, our mortgage payment is more now, but we didn't have to use like any of our money to buy this house, which is just crazy to think about. So that is part of the net worth. But again, the majority of it is cash, retirement, and our kids' future education. So of course, like, I didn't turn $1,500 into $850,000 overnight. Like, that would be a ridiculous claim, right? The $1,500 was the foundation in order for us to be able to do that. So I want to turn to you. If you're still watching this, kudos on you. Like, this means that you're looking to change and you're trying to see like, what's my best options for me. And if you're like, oh, I'm nowhere near $850,000, I'm not anywhere near $1 million in net worth, I don't have over $500,000 in retirement, things like that, and that's okay. I would not focus on that number, because I certainly wasn't when I set this up, when my wife and I were going through this. What's your $1,500? Like, our story starts from this $1,500. What's yours? That's what I would be focusing on. How can we first get stability and build a foundation? I like to think of our financial foundation as like a foundation of a house. It's like, okay, so most people's foundations are on like sticks and stones and like something, it's just like easily movable, right? But once we lock in like that level of cement, and then we move to the next one, we cement it, next one, cement it, and it's just like this process. So like, maybe your first $1,500 could be $1,000, $2,000 starter emergency fund kind of a thing. Your first $5,000 into the stock market, paying off all your credit cards, getting your 401k match, just like automating your financial life. The point isn't just to like copy me necessarily, because everyone's situation is going to be completely different, and every financial roadmap that I create for parents inside my program is completely custom. Like, I'm not handing them a PDF or, hey, watch this video and just do this. Like, someone could watch this video and think, oh, all I have to do is this. But if you think you could just watch one YouTube video and, all your problems go away, you're going to go from like a small amount of savings to a large amount of net worth overnight, it's not going to work. Now, what I would love for you to do is take half the time that it took my wife and I to get to this point. Next year probably will be passing $1 million in net worth, because we're just going to keep continuing doing the thing that's working. So if you're able to, I would love for you to go from where you are now to, say, $1 million net worth in half the time. So we'll call it, by next year, we'll call it 6 or 7 years or something like that. I would love to be able to do that. So if you're a parent and you're still sticking around to this video and you're like, man, what are my next steps? There's a link below this video to book a call directly with me. And it's just a friendly, quick 15-minute chat. I just really love to meet new people and kind of see where they're at with their finances. Where do you want to go? What your goals are? And then on the call, we can help unlock the one thing keeping you stuck from getting there. And then from there, we can talk about the Wealthy Parent Program and see if it's a fit for you. And I also don't accept everyone into this program. I only help people that I know I can help. Like, so I don't just invite everyone to this, just to be very clear. And that's what that call is for, just to kind of see where you are, where you want to go. And if you think I'm, hopefully you don't think I'm weird, right? So it's just those things. I just like to get to know each other first. And so once you do that, definitely that's the action step. If you're thinking, oh, what are my action steps? That's the action step. You can follow the blueprint, and hopefully I'll see you there. If not, you can just check out this one right here.